Oh, okay. I was just saying that, yeah, we see that racism in all these institutions, and it is systemic from the media on up to the president. It is systemic racism, and it must be addressed.
Well, we know that it's systemic. We know, and I think personally that they know that it's systemic
Mhm.
because in order to, you have to want to believe a lie. But in order to want to believe a lie, you have to know that it's a lie, right? So I don't, some of these folks, and I have a friend that said, "Oh, we don't have racism anymore. Obama's in office," and she's a white friend of mine, and I don't know quite what to say to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I'm
I
like,
think
really, you're telling me that there's no racism. You're white and I'm black, and you're telling me that there's no racism. And I just had 1,000 thoughts that went through my head at that time, and I don't know quite how to address that. And I guess, fish don't know they swim in water, right? So I guess it's
That is
but
a technique, I believe. That is a technique that they use to ignore what the real problems are.
it
They
has to be a
use,
level of it has to be. It has to be.
look at
If people are
Rodney.
saying this is blue, and you're saying, well, no, this is not blue, it's really green. You're like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Look at
Can I,
Rodney.
as a white person,
I want I
come
want to
in
hear
here?
Allison.
Yes,
Allison is on.
yes. Go ahead, Allison. Go ahead.
Okay,
No,
I
I want to hear
really
from
think
you.
that, I think that, I mean, just looking at my own evolution, I mean, I grew up with Black people. I've always had Black people in my lives, but I did not know the extent to which people are treated with discrimination because I did not walk the same streets. I walked the streets, but I was treated differently and I did not see it. And then when I started to see it, I didn't want to believe it. And I
Ex-
didn't realize my own privilege. And so I think a large part of it is denial, and then
Denial.
you begin to realize, and then you feel helpless. It's like, what can I do?
Thank you.
But
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your, there you go. That is it. It's denial. It's hard to accept. Crystal said it one time in one of our other conversations. It's very hard to accept.
Right. I think maybe when you accept it, you have to recognize that you play a role in this. You have to. So I think part of it is guilt, and you play a role. But guess what? You can choose that role, right? You can say, if you know someone that thinks on that level, you can tap them, say, listen, no, this is real, man. This was wrong. You can't, I had a friend that would always refer to Asians as Oriental. And I didn't know the difference. I'm Black. Until I had an Asian friend, she had to tell me, no, Oriental is a derogatory name. Oriental is a rug. It's not a person. And I got it just like that. But there are still people that, if you see them and they're saying, well, this Oriental person, I said, no, that's Oriental is a derogatory term. And she told me, she's like, it's like calling a Black person a nigger. That's exactly what she said. I was
Yep.
like, wow.
Well, the thing that I'm talking about, Felicia, is not just that, not just those types of things, but I wanted to give an example of when Rodney King happened and watching the video, and people, those police officers, they got off. And I was sitting there thinking, when they got off, I was sitting there thinking, they didn't see what happened. They didn't see what I saw. Is this something I missed? Were they just, it's just like the uprising at the Capitol. I have friends who just so happen to be white tell me, well, you can't believe everything that you see. It may not have happened like that, and a lot of them are those,
They
what
got
are
a
they
thousand
called?
excuses.
Yeah, yeah. And
They got
like
a
you said,
thousand
it's a
reasons.
form of denial. But when you see it with your eyes, it's pretty hard to say. I mean, this country has pacified for so long, for so many years. They have put laws in place, and I'm trying to think of one or two of them that where they put the laws in place, but they do nothing to implement the law. They do nothing to carry the law out. It's just there to pacify. It's just there to say, oh, well, we did this. Yes, this should be happening. Yes, should be this.
Affirmative action. We had to actually do it twice. I mean,
right.
And we still had to do it, and then had to undo it because it was reverse discrimination.
Right. But that's when I say
ridiculous.
When people talk about affirmative action, I love it when they bring these topics up, because I say, why not? We have had affirmative action for the past 400 years. White folks have only voted for white folks just based on the fact that they're white. So what's wrong with a Black person vote for a Black person because they're Black? If that's wrong, then vote for a white person because they're white is wrong. You have to phrase it like that so that they can see it. You have to phrase it. Like even at my job, they'll bring up, this is how I am even at work, the stereotypes. And I said, okay, all right, fine. You want to bring up stereotypes? Fine. I don't have a problem with that. But let's not pick and choose stereotypes. Let's put them all on the table. Let's put them all. Blondes are dumb, reds. I mean, we got a whole bag of stereotypes. So when you put it on the table like that, then they see, oh, okay. Then they want to back away. Then they understand it because they're in it. They're in it. Okay, let's not just put one stereotype. Let's put all the stereotypes on the table. Okay. And then they don't want to do that because they're in that stereotype.
I know time is short. We're not going to, continue the time. We're going to taper it off now. Yeah, we go to, I again, and Crystal and Steph heard me say this again. We wake up, whether you're Black or white, but basically being Black, you wake up, you get breakfast, you go out to the public, you come home, you decompress, you try to relax, and you go to bed. From that time span that you spent in the world, it is a battle with someone somewhere in that time frame of a day that has to be dealing with racism. There is something in your day, whether it's that cup of coffee, whether it's that smirk comment, whether you got an email, whether you stand in line, wherever it is, the systematic racism is there. To pull that nail out, again, treat everyone as equal. You see the issue, you get that issue in there. You curtail it. You give people what they deserve. You give them again, capitalist society, you give them the money that in order for them to, and doesn't have to be Black or white, Asian, everyone. But specifically for Black people, it is time that not me, my wife, my kids, everybody else who were born here get their due. You don't have to pay me. In fact, I could get up and go back to the islands anytime I want, But the fact is, you have to recognize that fully. This is why this is why God said, you're not NAACP, not Black Lives Matter. I respect Black Lives Matter. I respect the other organizations. We are end racism forever.